Man, what's really hood, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, we're going to do another comparison with the Samsung Galaxy S10, dude. Like I stated before, I'm going to be doing so many of these. You guys will practically feel like you already own the Galaxy S10. Like, you will feel like you would just want to go to the store and return it. And I've been doing a lot of these ones. I recently compared the iPhone XR to the Galaxy S10 and also the 6S Plus to the Galaxy S10. If you want to see those videos, you can go back to the channel. But this specific video is kind of dear to my heart because the iPhone X is my main phone that I use every single day. I get that question all the time. What's your main phone? Was that the iPhone X is the thing I use every single day. I use it for whatever I do with a phone. The Galaxy S10 though obviously just came out. It's a brand new phone. The iPhone X is about a year and some change old. I mean, it came out in 2017 in October. So I kind of want to see what the differences are between these, you know, whether if you have an iPhone X, whether you should feel jealous of a Galaxy S10 owner, because that's what I personally felt like, man. When the Galaxy S10 was being unveiled, I tweeted about it. I talked about it on Instagram. I'm like, this is a crazy device, and the features that this thing actually brings is going to pave the way for future phones and even future iPhones, in my opinion. Now, starting off with the body, I personally do feel like the Galaxy S10, this is kind of hard, in some ways feels more premium, but I also do think it's kind of that pseudo effect. I personally think the Galaxy S10 looks better than the iPhone X from the front. I think the back, it kind of grew on me now, but I personally do think that the Galaxy S10 kind of has a weird looking back. Take that as you will. I also do think the iPhone X has a weird looking back too, because of the way the camera is situated on the iPhone X. When you lean it against something, when it doesn't have a case on it, it kind of wobbles everywhere. The Galaxy S10 does a better job at it, but both of these phones feel pretty much the same in the hand. Glass on the front, glass on the back. Again, maybe the Galaxy S10 feels a little bit more premium because it doesn't have that notch and it has an inbuilt fingerprint sensor, so it kind of has that pseudo effect of it being more premium. But really in the hands, I don't really feel like one is more premium than the other. One interesting thing to note though is that the Galaxy S10 does have a headphone jack where the iPhone X does not. Me personally, I'm already over it. I've been over it for like 2 or 3 years now. But if you can't let go, if you're still stuck in the past, the Galaxy S10 has that option for you. Now, the Galaxy S10 on the front has a 6.1 inch screen. The iPhone X has a 5.8 inch screen. Both of them are AMOLED displays, but the Galaxy S10 has a dynamic AMOLED screen, where the iPhone X had a super AMOLED display. Is there a humongous difference? I don't really know. I think the Galaxy S10 definitely has a better panel. Its higher resolution is a 1440p panel, where the iPhone X actually is 1125 by 2436, so not quite 1440p, pretty close. And I personally do think the iPhone X's panel is perfectly fine, but the Galaxy S10, Samsung's panels are just, they're amazingly beautiful. And Samsung actually sourced the panels for the iPhone X as well, so kind of interesting thing there. They both are water resistant. The iPhone X is IP67 dust and water resistant for up to 1 meter of water for 30 minutes. The Galaxy S10 is IP68 dust and water proof for 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. So a little bit of difference there. The Galaxy S10 does have the advantage there, but really, I don't think you're going to be dipping these things in water anytime soon. Now, that kind of covers the outer exterior of them and kind of the hardware outside of the phones. But here's the interesting thing. In terms of software, you might be surprised. Even though the Galaxy S10 was just released literally like 4 days ago and the iPhone X over a year ago, dude, the iPhone X will most likely probably outlast the Galaxy S10 in terms of software updates. Now, in theory, I'm already going to say it is, but here's the thing. Samsung could potentially turn over a new leaf like we've seen them doing with their software. They went away from TouchWiz, their Samsung experience nonsense. Now they switched over to One UI, which is still kind of, I'll be honest, it's more of the same. I think it's overhyped a lot, but it is a slightly better upgrade, and at least they're making upgrades in that sense. So that kind of makes me think if they're making upgrades in there, maybe they're making upgrades in terms of how long they support these phones. You know, most of the Samsungs only get like 3 versions of Android, whereas on iPhone, sometimes we've seen them get like 4, 5, 6 versions of iOS, mostly 5 versions of iOS, but that's still pretty crazy. So the iPhone X should technically, in theory, last an extra year above the Galaxy S10 in terms of software updates on stock, but I think Apple will probably make the iPhone X last an extra year in terms of support. So kind of a theory right there. It's not really verified at all. So in terms of software updates, I do think the Galaxy S10 kind of lags behind the iPhone X as of now, but that could change in the future if Samsung wants to support this device even more or even longer, whatever. But the Galaxy S10 will have the advantage of custom ROMs where the iPhone X does not have that. So kind of a trade-off there too. If you keep both on stock, the iPhone X will last longer, but if you're comfortable rooting and custom ROMing your phone, the Galaxy S10 might have the advantage there too. It's like a flip-flop. It's like nobody ever wins, and Android versus iOS, it never goes smoothly. Now, in terms of the performance, here's the interesting thing. Obviously, Apple and Android, you can't really sync them both side by side in terms of specs. So I'll tell you the real world experience on both. I've tested these both thoroughly so far. The iPhone 10, obviously I use it every day, but the Galaxy S10, I have a ton of experience so far with these last couple of days of me comparing it to all these other phones. So let me just tell you the specs. The iPhone 10 had an Apple A11 Bionic chip, a hexa-core CPU, and 3 gigs of RAM, where the Galaxy S10 has an Exynos 9820 octa chipset on some variants, and a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 on others, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 640 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM. Alright, now that is a lot of RAM for a device, and I'll tell you without a doubt, in my opinion, the Galaxy S10 is the faster phone between these two, okay? I don't know of a phone right now that is faster than the Samsung Galaxy S10. I've compared it to so many other phones. I'm getting the Google Pixel 3 XL and the OnePlus 6T very soon. They're being shipped to my house already. I'm telling you right now, I'm interested in testing this phone against those, but I do think the Galaxy S10 is one of the fastest, probably the fastest phone out in the market right now. Out of all the phones I've ever tested, this is the thing that surprises me the most about it. I did a speed comparison between the iPhone 10 and the Galaxy S10 as well. I did some minor apps and I did kind of some big ones, but really I'm surprised sometimes if the minor apps open up faster. And with the Galaxy S10, every single app that I opened, for the most part, I think there was one where it was like close to the iPhone 10 opened it by a little bit faster, but 90% of the apps that I tested, the Galaxy S10 opened it noticeably faster, which is insane. And you can see, man, and I don't want to take too much away from the iPhone 10. Like I said, I like it a lot. I'm still going to be using it for a while, but looking at what Android is doing, and specifically Samsung with their Galaxy S10, this is some crazy phone speeds that we're getting right now, and I have nothing but respect for Samsung for doing it. It's not like I'm super jealous of it. I mean, I own the freaking Galaxy S10. It's not like it's a competitor of mine. I mean, I love it too, but it's really crazy how fast phones are becoming now. If I wasn't testing them side by side, honestly, I would not have expected this much of a difference, okay? I would have been like, yeah, maybe it's like a little bit faster, but you wouldn't really notice it. But when you actually put them side by side, you get to see a little bit of difference, which is crazy. The iPhone 10 isn't slow at all. I do think it's a perfectly fine phone. Like, it's not getting slower anytime soon, unless Apple purposely slows it down. But for the time being, it's a perfectly good phone, and I don't see it like being obsolete within at least like a couple years from now. So that's kind of my opinion on it. Overall, the Galaxy S10 is a faster phone, but the iPhone 10 is not a slow phone at all, like without a doubt. Now that kind of covers up the big majority points of it, the main aspects. Now the camera, obviously I will say the Galaxy S10, I think maybe is a better camera. Maybe it's like a tie in terms of the camera quality. Maybe this is the hard aspect of it, because I do think at a point the iPhones do have sometimes better camera quality, but Samsung's have so many more features in their camera app itself that really there's like no competition. I mean, you can do so many different things with the Samsung Galaxy camera where you cannot do that on an iPhone camera. So in a sense, the camera sensors might be better on an iPhone 10, maybe, and I don't even think that's the case. I do think the Galaxy S10 probably has the better camera. It's very close, but the Galaxy S10 almost wins as a whole just because of the camera features within it. So I mean, that kind of is a testament to Samsung and what they've been pushing for so long, putting all those features in their phones, especially the camera app, where iOS, I mean, they slowly introduce features over time, and it's like super annoying. It's like, can we get some more features? Like, that's just something that always bothers me. So I don't really think the camera quality is amazingly better on the Galaxy S10, but I do think the camera, the features, the everything combined is overall better on the Galaxy S10 than on the iPhone 10. And as you just saw, that was a perfect case of me actually explaining the usability of the phone and not even talking about the specs. I forgot that I even mentioned the actual megapixel count of these cameras. So the iPhone 10 has two 12 megapixel sensors. The Galaxy S10 has two 12 megapixel sensors as well, but an extra 16 megapixel sensor that you can shoot ultra wide photos in. And that's something else that the iPhone 10 does not have. You cannot shoot ultra wide photos on it. You can do 4K at 60 frames on both of them, 1080p at up to 240 frames on both phones, but the real world usability, I do think the Galaxy S10 is a better camera phone overall. And I think the Galaxy S10 is better than the iPhone XS when you factor in the features. I mean, honestly, like, I'm probably going to mention in this video and other ones too, who cares if the camera quality is 10% better than another phone? Like, honestly, how often are you using the phone? You're not using the phone camera probably every day. That's pretty much where I'm going to end that at. I spent way too much time on it. The battery life though, this is super interesting. Not only does the Samsung Galaxy S10 have a bigger battery size than the iPhone 10, but it also is a better battery life than the iPhone 10. This is what I mean. The iPhone 10 has a 2716 mAh battery. The Galaxy S10 has a 3400 mAh battery. They both have Qi wireless charging. The Galaxy S10 actually has reverse wireless charging, so you can charge a iPhone 10 from a Galaxy S10 where you cannot charge a Galaxy S10 10 from an iPhone 10. So kind of interesting right there. Without a doubt, the Galaxy S10 does have a better battery life overall, but I am kind of interested to see how long that lasts, because this is kind of controversial. A lot of Samsungs over time, once people start using it and they start downloading apps and all those good things, people tend to complain the most about Samsung phones and how the battery dies so fast. I mean, I remember hearing complaints about the S7 when the S9 was out, the S8 right now around this time. Sooner or later we're going to have S9 complaints and then S10 at some point. And that kind of happens with a lot of phones, but with iPhones, I don't necessarily hear that problem as much as I hear it from Android users and Samsung users specifically. So as of right now, I think the Galaxy S10 has a lead, but I am kind of curious to see what happens in the future. If the battery life changes between these, they're both non-removable batteries, but Apple does kind of make it easier for you to just go into the App Store and get your battery replaced. They do charge you a ton of money to replace it. I don't know what it is, like $80 or $100 or whatever, but there's Apple stores everywhere. There's not necessarily Samsung stores everywhere. I don't know if like stores like Best Buy and stores like that are able to replace batteries with like certified warranties on the Galaxy S10, but that kind of covers up the whole entire comparison I wanted to do. Some other notable things to note: the Galaxy S10 has an inbuilt fingerprint sensor in the screen, which is awesome. The iPhone 10 does not have any fingerprint sensors or Touch ID or anything, which is lame. They should have done it. They never did. It's so annoying. The Galaxy S10 does have a fingerprint sensor, which is awesome. Overall, I think the Galaxy S10 does have a better screen as well. There's no notch on the Galaxy S10. They put the hole punch display on it, which I personally like. I like it more than the iPhone 10, so. And just overall, this is what I'll say. The Galaxy S10, I think, is a better phone than the iPhone 10, no doubt, but it is still kind of expensive. The iPhone 10s you can get for around $700. The Galaxy S10 you can get around $900. And when I say it out loud, there really isn't that much difference in price. But what I'll say is, if the Galaxy S10 was a perfect phone, a 10 out of 10, the iPhone 10, too many 10s out there, the iPhone 10 is probably maybe an 8.5 out of 10. I don't see how it's a slow phone. It doesn't lack in anything. Really, Touch ID is the only thing it's missing. I complain about it all the time, but there's nothing with the Galaxy S10 where I'm looking at where I'm like, I need this in a phone. Reverse wireless charging is cool. Those camera features I would love to have, but I don't use the camera all the time. I would rather have the better battery life the Galaxy S10 has, and Samsung DeX is a really cool thing. I haven't really gotten to use it that much yet, but I do think that has potential and it's a super cool thing. But there's really nothing that really urges me to upgrade to a Galaxy S10 or even keep my Galaxy S10, because yes, it's a better upgrade, it's a better phone overall, but it's not like it does anything amazing that will actually have an impact on my life right now. At least I don't think so. Maybe I have to use it a little bit more, but as of right now, I think the Galaxy S10 is a very good phone, but I still think the iPhone 10 is a very strong phone and a super good contender in 2019. So what I will do is I'll link a Galaxy S10 in the description below, but I'll also link the cheapest iPhone 10 that I find on Amazon. I'll link it straight down in the description as well. Anything you buy through those links, that actually a little bit of that revenue comes back to the channel so we can do more videos like this and do more comparisons and more giveaways. We're still doing the iPhone SE giveaway. I have 2 more left. I'm picking one more winner next Sunday and then another winner the week after that. So if you want to enter that giveaway, click the first link down in the description. It'll take you to a video. Watch that video. It's completely free to enter. It's my 100K giveaway. I want to say thank you so much, but watch that video, explain exactly how to enter. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button. That'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.